All right, let's dive right into this explainer and uncover the absolutely incredible, scientifically proven abilities that actually drive your dog's behavior. Look, we all love our furry best friends, but let's be honest, sometimes the way they react to things leaves us completely scratching our heads.
I mean, think about that super embarrassing moment when your friendly, normally perfectly behaved pet suddenly just turns totally hostile toward a seemingly normal stranger on the street. Or maybe, it's that one specific neighbor your dog absolutely refuses to go near, no matter how much you try to coax them. You've probably stood there wondering, like, is my dog just being difficult right now, or do they actually know something that I don't?
Well, you can validate your suspicions right now because researchers have literally proven that our dogs possess a biological lie detector. Scientists have confirmed that dogs can in fact recognize when someone is a bad person. It's not magic, and it's definitely not a coincidence. It's actually this fascinating mix of really sharp observation and complex biology.
Let's quickly run through the agenda for this explainer. We're going to map out our journey through these amazing abilities, going from everyday social interactions all the way to mind-blowing medical capabilities. We'll hit social intelligence, deep connection, threat detection, medical marvels, and finally, canine communication.
Okay, starting off with Section 1, Social Intelligence, Spotting Liars and Mean People. So there's this really fascinating study published in the Journal of Neuroscience and Biobehavioral Reviews where scientists set up a live experiment just to see if dogs actually hold grudges. The setup was pretty simple. An owner tried to open a really tightly sealed container. Right beside them was an actor. Now, in the first scenario, the actor helped the owner. In the second, they just stood there, totally passive. And in the third, they outright refused to lend a hand at all. And the dogs? They watched this whole shebang. Afterwards, the actors offered the dogs a treat. Now, you'd think a dog would take a free snack from literally anyone, right? Wrong. The dogs happily accepted treats from the helpful actor and the passive actor, but they completely refused the treat from the person who wouldn't help their owner. They literally recognized that person was being a jerk and just decided, nope, not going to trust them.
And that brilliantly illustrates our next point, which comes from a Japanese pointing experiment. So, scientists wanted to see if dogs remember untrustworthy behavior. They put two containers near a dog. In round one, a human points to the container that actually has a treat in it. The dog gets it, thrilled, right? In round two, the human lies. They point to the empty container. The dog gets nothing, super disappointed. Then we get to round three. The human points to the treat again, but this time, the dog completely refuses to go for it. The dog remembered that this human had been untrustworthy and deceitful just moments before and completely revoked their trust.
Moving right along to Section 2, Deep Connection, Reading Faces and Remembering Scents.
Let's walk through the timeline of exactly what happens when you leave your house. For those first few minutes, your scent lingers pretty heavily in the air. But as hours pass, that prolonged absence builds this intense excitement for your return. Because studies actually show that simply smelling an owner's scent activates the pleasure centers in a dog's brain. It's exactly like how our human brains respond to the perfume or cologne of someone we love. But as days pass without you, a certain level of comfort is lost. If you don't return within a specific time frame, your dog ultimately perceives it as a grieving loss. But the really amazing part? They remember your scent and exactly how you made them feel for their entire life.
Now get this, an intriguing Austrian touchscreen experiment proved that dogs can actually discriminate between human expressions. Scientists showed dogs pictures of human faces. Some were angry, some were happy. And even when they were shown faces of people they have literally never seen before, the dogs could tell the difference and tap the correct face for a reward. But here is the most intriguing clue. Before the dogs even learned the rules of this game, they showed a natural built-in aversion to pressing their noses against the angry faces. They just naturally know exactly what our facial expressions mean. All right, Section 3, Threat Detection, Smelling Fear and Bad Intentions. I want you to really absorb this number for a second. 100,000 times. A dog's sense of smell is up to 100,000 times better than ours. Their nose isn't just for sniffing out lost treats under the sofa. It actually acts as an invisible, highly calibrated threat radar that is constantly scanning the environment. So when your dog barks at someone you're just trying to be polite to, they are very likely picking up on your own subconscious signals. If you're secretly nervous around someone, your body starts producing specific stress-related chemicals. And your dog, they are actively analyzing your sweat, your adrenaline levels, and even altered brain pheromones. So your fake smile might totally fool the human, but your dog smells that adrenaline, realizes you are not at ease, and steps in to make sure you're safe. And this biological radar connects to a really fascinating real-world study of nearly 700 people. Scientists found a direct link between a person's emotional state and how likely they were to get bitten by a dog. People who are confident and emotionally stable were bitten significantly less often than people who felt anxious or intimidated. The dogs were quite literally smelling their fear and reacting directly to that unstable emotional state.
Section 4. Medical Marvels. Smelling life-threatening illnesses.
I mean, just think about this incredible list. Through their unbelievable sense of smell, dogs can actually detect cancer, diabetes by sensing low blood sugar, impending seizures, migraines, malaria, and even Parkinson's disease. Organizations like Medical Detection Dogs and Dogs for Diabetics are extensively training canines to identify these illnesses just by sniffing a person's breath, their urine, or skin swabs. It's wild.
To understand exactly what these dogs are smelling, we have to look at unique chemical elements. A study out of UC Davis confirmed that cancer-affected tissues emit a specific, distinct odor that simply does not exist in healthy cells. And similarly, a rapid drop in blood sugar produces unique chemical elements that a dog can instantly identify just on a diabetic person's breath. They are basically walking, barking medical scanners.
And finally, Section 5, Canine Communication, Decoding Dog-to-Dog Interactions.
There is a massive data exchange happening out there that we humans are completely blind to. When we look down the street, we usually just see two dogs looking at each other, right? But what the dogs see is this complex array of subtle body cues. They're registering freezing postures, stiff tails, tense mouths, wrinkled noses, and they're picking up on all these distant scent clues. So what looks like a totally unprovoked lunge to us is actually a direct response to intense biological data signaling a threat.
And sometimes, it's strictly historical. Immediate canine dislikes are very often rooted in past experiences rather than just random aggression. Like if your dog was attacked by a specific type of dog in the past, let's say a large brown dog, they might exhibit intense fear and aggression toward any similar-looking dog they see in the future. Their visual memory is incredibly sharp, and they carry those past encounters with them.
Which brings us to our final thought for this explainer. The next time you're out and your dog starts acting up around one specific person, remember everything we just covered, because as this quote perfectly sums it up, this person might seem all right to you, but your dog knows better. They're tracking deceit, they're reading micro-expressions, and they are literally smelling your hidden adrenaline. So if your furry best friend is suddenly growling at a stranger, you really have to ask yourself, what is it that they smell that you can't see?